Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Knowledge Hub session. It's a pleasure to have Dr. Pallavi Arora with us. She'll be walking us through a really important theme of mental health in ATLs. As mentors, all of you on a daily basis interact with multiple students. And as you do, it's really important for all of you to make sure you're able to create a supportive environment for all your mentees and students in the ATL. And to help you with that, today we have Dr. Pallavi with us. So, without taking any further time, ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning to all of you, and a very warm welcome once again to today's session on supporting mental health in the ATLs. And I'm Dr. Palvi Arora. I'm an assistant professor at the International Center for Cross-Cultural Research and Human Resource Management, University of Jammu. And I'm also an RMOC for Jammu and Kashmir. Today, what we're going to talk about is a very, very essential part of the ATLs because probably years back, we had not, not just talking about the ATLs, otherwise also we had not been reflecting about the theme of mental health, and it was only, majority considered to be just the physical health and just the mental health areas that we were talking about. So why mental health today? Why are we talking about this issue today? COVID last year when COVID, hit all of us, that was the time when this word came really like a buzzword, and everybody was in awe of what the theme is about, what is mental health, why are we talking about it. And that was the time potentially when we practically realized the fact that beyond the physical development of students, we also need to take care of something which is very, very essential, which talks about a holistic package of that we need to offer to the students in terms of their prime development, and takes care of their physical, their mental, their sociological, their psychological well-being. So if I look at the need that had been created last year was potentially because of the fact that we all were in a situation which we had possibly not expected for us to have been in. And when we were in the midst of that scenario, we started realizing the changes that were prevalent in and amongst the children and also the adults. So it was very essential for us to really know more about the topic, and as mentors how we can basically help our students and others as well to navigate through any of the challenges that they may face while they are in the midst of these kind of situations. So today what we will be talking about is a lot of things in terms of how mental health is affecting the students, and what there was in terms of a pre and a post COVID-19 kind of a situation, and how as mentors we can be those facilitators and those change makers who can really make a lot of difference to the lives of our students. So, some factors that I really want to push across in terms of identifying and really understanding as to when we talk about individuals is, of course, the biological factors, the life experiences, the family or history of mental problems of certain situations, and of course the lifestyle issues. Now, when we talk about these kind of scenarios, all the crux of all of this is that all individuals are not the same. We are not the same. The students that we come across are not the same. So each and every single personality that we're dealing with in an ATL is absolutely different. They may be coming from certain backgrounds, they may be coming from certain educational setups, they may be coming from certain experiences. And today, if I talk about the fact that, presently, the kind of exposure and the kind of knowledge that we are imparting to the students, we are putting them into a lot of competitive scenario, because of which children sometimes come across a situation wherein they are really clueless of what to do. So as mentors, our responsibility comes into identifying the fact that yes, these individuals are not the same. The personalities that we are talking about are not the same. So when I pick up any single one of them, anybody, any just one single student in my ATL, I need to really look at him as one person and not comparable to the others. There may be 100 qualities present in this one individual, and there may be just one quality present in another one, but then maybe that one quality stands out, and I need to appreciate that. So when we look at these students as potential, the youth of tomorrow who's going to really be shaping the future of tomorrow of our country, we need to instill in them so much confidence. We need to instill in them so much enthusiasm so that they are able to overpower any of those inhibitions that are, affecting their lives. Now, let us understand the challenge that everything did not happen because of COVID. Yes, of course, we started talking more about mental health last year, but then everything did not happen because of COVID. There are 100 other factors which led to this kind of a situation wherein people, basically dropped down into scenarios wherein they were losing out on their morale, the confidence was going out. Children did not really know what's happening with them because of the unknown of the fear, because you are actually in a situation wherein you don't know what's happening and what could possibly happen. So when we come across these unknown situations, we need to be, prepared. We need to make our students more and more adaptable. We need to make our students more and more resilient. Again, getting back to the point that yes, all personalities are not the same. So when I will be talking about all of these, people in this entire structure of dealing with or handling these students in different ATL setups. Why is it important to really cater to the mental health of the students? Only because of the fact that we are looking at the broader picture. We are not just looking at the fact that okay, fine, today I'm a mentor, I'm going to an ATL and my responsibility to teach them XYZ skill, and once I come back from there my job is done. No, our responsibility goes way beyond just offering them the ability to learn a newer skill, to become more flexible. We have a large part of that role to play. We are those change agents who can really make a lot of difference. So I will be sharing with you why the nurturance of the mind is so important. Why do we really think that I need to train students in my classroom or in my ATL to become more adaptable to different types of setups? Okay, now firstly, we need to understand that there is a lot of stress that's going around. Now if you even ask a little kid, a few days back, I just asked my son that, why aren't you, you're taking out time for some physical activity? He tells me, Mama, I'm keeping very busy. And I was just very surprised to hear that answer, because in my eyes, probably I was just looking at him, spending more time on the iPad or spending more time on the mobile phones or a tab. Why? Because they are onto obviously an online mode, and he's spending more time on that, and probably they're taking leverage also out of that thing. So what we need to understand is that whether it is a small 5 or 6 year old kid, or whether it is an elder person, everybody says that I am into a situation of stress. So where is that stress coming from? When we look at individuals, especially the ones in a classroom setup or the ones in an ATL, these students are not only coping with the pressure that's coming in terms of an academic or the co-curricular things that are mandatory for them to be a part of, in terms of handling their entire 1 year or 2 years in their class 10s, class 11s, class 12s, which are very, very crucial years of the students as well. Beyond this, when we are expanding on their innovation potential, we are basically trying to make them understand that you have the right kind of capabilities that you need to really work upon so that the coming future
Uda
is brighter
Costa.
for you. Yeah, I think there is somebody who's unmuted. Okay. So when we talk about these, stresses that are being developing, a practical example that I would really like to share with you is that because I am a person who is dealing with the higher education, and I am also dealing with the ATLs, in their formative years, what I'm trying to examine as a prime difference is the fact that the children that we're dealing with in the higher education, they lack the ability presently because they do not have the right kind of knowledge, or possibly they were not given that direction like we are giving the direction to our students in the ATLs. And just imagine these students tomorrow when they move to the higher education system, how they are going to transform the entire landscape of the innovation ecosystem in our nation. So this is what the gap is, and we are the ones who are trying to fill in that gap. Trust me, whatever I am going and sharing across in my in my ATL, I'm trying to put that across to my students, whether formally or informally, in the higher education setup as well, because I want that no one should be left behind. Okay, sometimes students do come up with the fact that, I feel so stressed that I have an idea but I'm clueless about what to do about it. But then, because we have had an experience of dealing with ATLs, we have had an experience of dealing with training these students on several areas, on several parameters, so we can use that experience to shape the lives of others as well. And that's how we can, enable them in coping with the stress that they are having. And why the fact, that this word called as stress is becoming so relevant, and it's possibly more like a fashion word that everybody says, I always feel stressed about things, I'm always stressed. These are the words that any and everybody that you go and talk to would be coming up with that. We really have to understand that if the mind is nurtured, then you can really train your mind to become capable of coping with that kind of a stress. And we have to make understand our students the fact that life is a very long process of learning, and in this entire process of learning there are going to be n number of successes, and there are going to be n number of failures. So in that entire complete procedure of successes and failures, we have to teach them that learn to celebrate your successes, but even learn to celebrate your failures, because the failure is the one that made you or enabled you to learn so much from your mistakes, and probably your success came because of your failure. So these like stresses are few of those very you can say important elements that we need to talk about and train our students in the ATLs to be able to cater to. Second is, when the mind is not healthy, and we cannot be physically healthy, and it is vice versa as well. If we are not physically healthy, we are not healthy mentally as well. So we need to take care of it as a cyclical process. We really have to train and tell our students the fact that how important it is for them to move out, get into some kind of a physical activity to give wings to their ideas. Because if they do not do that, I have seen, my students sitting like probably more than 10 to 12 hours on their laptops, slogging over work, and they don't even bother getting up and, taking in some, bit of a walk, or just even taking a stroll, nothing like that, no physical activity. Because of which, what is happening is, sometimes they say that, I feel that I have mental blocks. I feel that, I'm not able to think. So that is not the case that we are supposed to create, because we are knowledgeable, as a trainer, as a mentor in the ATLs. We need to make all our students understand the fact that both your physical as well as your mental well-being is equally important. It is not that I need to be just fit physically, it is also the fact that I need to be fit mentally as well. And because these are two interrelated processes, we need to take care of them simultaneously. So you would know, whether you insist upon telling them to have a balanced diet, go for an exercise, because, and of course take their sleep appropriately. That's all the things that is very very essential for students to identify when they become parts of these ATLs. Because here we are not just teaching them skills. Trust me, we are not here just to treat them, train them on certain skills. We are here to train them on something which is much beyond just making or enabling them to make some robots, or make some, or utilize AI or anything like that. Third thing which is very important is the establishment of good relationships. uh, why we say relationships, we have to make the students understand that we are not living in a world of isolation. We are living in a world of totality. We are living in a world wherein we have to understand what is the role of interpersonal relationships, what is the role of networking, what is the role of dealing with one another, what is the role of learning from one another. When we talk about the need for nurturing a good mind or a healthy mind, and this simultaneously the development of good relationships, the closer link that basically establishes here is the fact that when I have a healthy and a positive mind, I look up to people in a more positive manner, in a more positive approach. Otherwise, what will happen is that I will all the time think of the negativities that come into my mind, and use those negatives in a wrong connotation, which could affect my overall personal development as well. It could also affect my personal relationships as well with other people. So what I really need to do is that I need to train myself in these classrooms to enable my students understand the role that relationships can play in their lives. And trust me, when we are able to do that, like I said, let's take that step forward. Let's move a step forward and enable our students to understand the positive impact that good relationships can hold. Just imagine, just try and analyze the fact that we became a part of this community as Atal Innovation Mission under the in this entire platform, and we all came together as mentors, and there was so much learning that could happen from mentors to mentors and from mentors to mentees. So it is only because of the fact that we were having an open mind, we were willing to learn, we were willing to support each other, whether it was a mentor, whether it was a mentee. So we were willing to put forth all that we have in terms of knowledge, in terms of skills, in terms of competencies, and we were able to take that step forward and say, yes, I'm wanting to, make that change. And that's the time when the overall level of enthusiasm and your passion to do a thing really goes up. So this is how we need to really plan and communicate with our mentees that what is the need for them to, really establish good relationships. Just understand that at present these students are into their formative years. We are shaping a journey for them, and while they are in their journey, let's make them understand what is the role that a good relationship can play, and how these long lasting good relationships can help you in shaping your overall life. So it's very important. Normally we have to understand that when there are fusses, when there are problems, there's a mental block, there is a negativity that's around you, because of which you cannot proceed further. All the time you are worried about things that could happen, things that are unexpected, because of which you are basically letting down on your innovation potential. But that's not what our aim is. Our aim is to bring out the best in each and every single kid that we are encountering. So we need to look at all of our students, that the fact that we need to nurture their minds. Next is the fact that uh, what contributions are they making to the community. That's a very essential part that we need to really make them understand. uh, when we deal with students, let us give them a vision. We have to make them understand what is the vision, what is their own vision in life. We also have to make them understand that what is the vision of the Atal Innovation Mission. Once these visions are aligned together, once we understand that I'm totally aligned to what my country is looking at, what my country is expecting from me. I have been told that yes, I am a potential individual who has got lots of newer ideas that could shape the future of our nation. But what do I do next? I don't know. I don't have any means or methods through which I could jump into that kind of a situation, and how I could navigate and let my ideas bloom. So we as mentors, when we are in the process of nurturing the minds of people, what we need to do is that we have to make them understand. We have to create that mindset, that this mindset is the one that's going to enable us to make useful contributions to the society. We have to make them understand that today, if you're contributing, this contribution goes way beyond your basic understanding of just job seeking. You are the ones who are the job creators now, and you are creating or generating an employment for the nation. So it's a big contribution, or probably the kind of products that you are creating that can make a lot of difference to the lives of hundreds and thousands of people. So that's the kind of vision, that's the kind of contribution, and that's the kind of mindset that we all need to make, so that everybody is aligned to that kind of a situation. uh, Next thing that is very important for us while we talk about the nurturance of the mindset or the nurturance of the mind is working productively. When we have a healthy mind, we go and we want to put the 100% best of our potential to really come out and perform well. But if the mind is blocked, if the mind is low, if the morale is low, we are not really happy, and we are not really giving our best in any kind of a thing that we are taking up. So we really need to understand that the need for us to perform well will certainly come if the mindset, if the mind is nurtured appropriately. And of course, uh, if the mind has ideas, who is going to tell us, or who's going to tell the students that, this is the right time, that wherein you can strike the hammer, and this is the right time to realize your potential. When we can all do that, when we are able to make the students understand that they have that spark in them, they have that potential in them, but then we are those drivers who are going to enable them to understand where and what they can do, but not just as guide. We can even enable them to come up with their beautiful ideas, so that they can make a difference to the lives of many. Now, talking about the fact that when we enter into an ATL, we have a full-fledged plan that's marked for us, in our minds, that today, this is what I'm going to do in my classroom. This is what I'm going to do in my ATL. When I enter, I present my students with a whole lot of problems, and they come up with the solutions. And, we all are jumping into that, mode, and we're just trying to extract and come up with solutions to things. Now, when we are doing that, what is happening is that in this entire process, in the ATLs, we are creating some skills. Yeah. These skills are probably the critical or decision making skills, or the innovation and ideation skills. They are the project management skills, they are the self initiation skills. These are, of course, one thing that we can say that, are held on one hand. But on the other hand, we are also playing another responsibility of training and developing a kind of a value system in them that they need to take forth in life. When we are talking about this value system and the creation of life skills, potentially somebody would think that, I am possibly an engineer, I am a mentor, and, uh, whatever the situation may be. In any kind of a circumstance, I might think that, oh, I'm a technically qualified mentor, but I do not have those soft skill areas to myself. So what do I do with that? When we're talking about ourselves as a mentor, we are also taking that responsibility of shaping the holistic personality of the individual. So apart from being you may have personally realized that in these classroom sessions with the students, you may be talking something beyond. You may be trying to identify, creating some groups, creating some teams. And when these teams are created in the ATL, they are working together, they are analyzing things, they are analyzing situations. So much is happening. When we talk about this, so much happening in our ATL, what we are trying to instill is a value system. We have to put forth and make these students understand certain life skills, which probably is, seen as part and parcel of the process. It's not possibly to go inside and be doing otherwise. शायद हमने कभी सोचा नहीं होगा कि क्लास talking specific products or certain specific services. Probably beyond those services, I may be hearing some kind of an ideation which is also instilling out some kind of skills which they are learning. Okay, so by that, you know, I'm work, so I need to boost them. Simultaneously, few students in my very strong coming up with held these students and the one who's responsible for doing possibly a student may be encountering a problem, a student may be across a situation, it may be personal as well, it may not absolutely be because of COVID as well. So there may be 100 things that may be going on into the mind of the student, and if I'm able to extract that, if I'm able to understand that, how do I let those issues and challenges not come on way of the students, so that they are able to come up with their 100%, so that they are able to come up with their full potential. That's what I'm supposed to realize in this entire process and procedure. And this is very essential for us to really recognize each time we enter into a to an ATL that I'm not just here for imparting certain technical skills. I'm also here for imparting, certain life skills. I can still remember the first exemplary mentors meet that we had. During that time, Amitabh sir, he talked about the fact that we have to generate this value system, and trust me, beyond this, beyond what he said, we also need to understand that those words have to be taken as a part of the vision that we are creating for our own nation. And because we have taken that baton of enabling our students to be the part of the new India that we are looking at, we are the ones who have to recognize even those small bits and parcels that maybe that may be left in between. It is very important for us to identify those small challenges that maybe not everybody is facing, but yes, few of them may be facing. But then for me, every student in my ATL is as an equally important student, and I need to give as much attention that I can to ensure that every student gains access to the information, every student gains access to the problem solving that I'm trying to do in my setup. Once in my ATL, I did a problem, a little activity with them, wherein what I did was that I made all the students to write their problems on a balloon before blowing it up. Okay, so what they did was that first of all they wrote all their challenges on a balloon. Then I asked them to blow up the balloon, and they did that. And when they saw that the balloon was bursting, and as the blue balloon expanded, all the problems were expanded. And suddenly I told them that, now I give you the opportunity to burst that balloon. And when they bursted that balloon, uh, of course, there was nothing. And trust me, what was happening in this process was that I noticed that few children, they were quiet, but then they were smiling. I just went up to them and asked them, I said, what's happening? And, what's going on in your mind? They said, we were just trying to realize what you're trying to do in the classroom with us. You're trying to tell us that every time there is a problem, we expand that problem. We think that that problem is so big, but then when we just want to burst and come out of the problems, it probably just takes that one little second. But we need to keep take track of that 1 second and just ensure that everything goes well. So things can really enable people to understand how you can foster mental health in the organizations or probably the institutions. Now, looking at a pre and a post COVID scenario in the retails is very essential for us, because if I try to just analyze, that in a pre COVID situation, there was a lot of creativity that was happening, there was a lot of ideation that was happening. Then, of course, we did not stop that even after COVID. But in a post COVID or a present COVID situation, there are a lot of situations or scenarios where we have examined that the morale of students, maybe not all, but yes, some of them has gone down. There are falling interests. There is a change in the eating and sleeping patterns of the student, as been reported by their schools. They are withdrawing from their activities which they previously were doing, having lesser energy. Probably sometimes they would want to join an online meeting, they would do that just 5 minutes, they leave the meeting. They feel numb, and possibly feel that there's nothing that is so essential or that really matters a lot, or having certain unexplained physical ailments, or probably you feel maybe hopeless or helpless. You feel worried about a lot of things. You have severe mood swings, and that's actually demonstrated through the kind of behaviors and the actions that you're putting forth. And of course, having thoughts and memories that you can't get out of your head. Now, whether we talk of a pre-COVID kind of a or a post a pre-COVID kind of a situation wherein things were absolutely normal, we were still facing the challenge of this, like a scenario wherein what COVID did was more like an accentuation. COVID just pushed this more in and amongst certain students who were already facing certain problems, and there were others who developed these kind of issues over a period of time. But then when we look at how we took this entire procedure of not stopping the mentoring throughout the the way all the across the various months of the COVID period. The only reason what we were trying to do was to stay in touch, to not let the students feel that we are not there with them, to basically foster that high level of passion that if anything goes wrong, we are still there with you. So what happened was that, that connect that was tried to be established over a period of those months, I think that has really enabled all of us to go more stronger, and even enabled a lot of students to come out of their inhibitions, which possibly were dwelling over a period of time. So this really can help us to understand how the important role of mental health can be, and we as mentors can be those the people who can really transform the thinking patterns and enable the mentees to understand the right tracks for them. Now, when you enter into an ATL, the question is, do we try to identify some issues in our ATLs, whether it was going online or whether it was offline? Number one is that, do we see students who are behaving differently? Have you ever tried to understand that, why somebody today is, not behaving in a normal mode? Somebody is too hyperactive, somebody is too low. Why are they doing like that? I mean, did we ever take an initiative as a mentor? Or I just thought that, no, today my role is to complete this topic and I'm just supposed to go in, finish off with this topic, and my role in the ATL is done. Do I think like that? Or do I think of questioning myself and just trying to analyze what is the overall mood of my classroom today? Is everybody happy? Is everybody not so happy, low? If they're low, why they are low? Have we ever even tried to try to understand whether there is a difference between the routine behavior or possibly today's behavior? क्या हमने कभी जानने की कोशिश की that when we are dealing with people who are so different, like I said, we are talking about personalities who are absolutely different from all of us. So when we enter into an ATL, if we are into a consistent, if we are in touch with them on a consistent basis, we now know these students as our very own students. So did we ever try to really analyze that, why is this student not behaving in a routine fashion as he normally does, and today is doing something different? Did we ever ask? Did we ever take that initiative of, moving ahead and asking that question? Right now, when we are talking, I really want you all to think. I want you all to just, pay attention to these questions in terms of identifying that, was there even a single chance that I responded or I did any of these things? And if we did, of course, to any of these questions, that means that we are also on the right track. Otherwise, we need to even question ourselves that, what is my role that I'm trying to play, and is it just the that little aspect of training them on a particular topic that I'm trying to deal with them in a particular day, or is it something beyond that? So do we question? Now, once we question, we also have to really understand that, do they respond to those questions? Now, if they are responding to those questions, that means that they have established that kind of a connect with you, so that they feel so comfortable to talk to you and basically come up with thoughts and ideas which may be buried deep down in them, but then yes, now they are willing to come up, now they are willing to share it with you because you are their mentor. So we have to really understand this entire situation as to what is how they are also responding to you. Once we start gaining a response, or even if we have not gained a response from them, we have to ask another question, or probably even think of the fact that, are we monitoring them? Was it just a day's activity that I just enter into an ATL in one day I realized that something was wrong, and next time I forgot, I did not ask, I did not track, I did not take a feedback. Did I not do those questions? If I'm not monitoring, I need to monitor. I need to really get back to that situation wherein I need to analyze and find out as to what's happening. Analyze what are those various cues, what are those various nuances that I can capture, so that I'm able to understand the precise situation and scenario of the students in my ATL, so that their entire position of coming up with the ideation process is not hampered. So I am the one who's going to give them that push that, yes, you have it in you. But then if they have a barrier or a bottleneck that's preventing them from achieving their goals, I need to monitor them real well. Next thing is that, do we decide to take action? Have I ever given it a thought that I need to now take an action? And
What kind of an action? Do I need to speak more to the child? Do I need to reach out to the parents? Do I need to reach out to the ATL in charges or the school teachers or the principals, so that at least I'm able to, if I'm the one who has been able to identify some sort of a problem, what should be my role? My role is that of, getting to that stage of identification, wherein if I think that the problem is such that it needs to be reported, I need to take that little action of going beyond and reaching out to the concerned people who could really help it out in that process. Last thing that I want to talk about in this particular slide is what is our own perception of mental health issues. Sometimes we have to understand and accept the fact that many of us do not want to talk about mental health issues. Somebody would probably think of it as some sort of a mental illness. I don't want to talk about it. Have you ever heard of that general stereotype that if you say that I'm going to a psychologist, many people think that you are a crazy person, or there's something wrong with you, or you're mad, so you probably want to reach out to a psychologist. But the very purpose of reaching out to a psychologist is not that you have gone crazy or you've gone mad. It is because you are seeking help, because you're finding some sort of an issue which could not be generally a mental illness, but you are finding some stress. Probably you want to go out because of that. But this stereotype that remains in our mind, that helps, that basically renders us in a position wherein we are held back and we do not seek the appropriate help. So we need to question ourselves that how do I take this word as mental health? Do I consider it with some wrong connotations, or do I really understand that it's the need of the hour? Or do I really understand that yes, if this can really help and support the students in my classroom, in my ATL, how do I need to push forth? I need to personally first have that open mind on my own self, then I need to reach out to others. That's very essential for all of us to do that. Now, what mentoring can do with this entire procedure, and as mentors, we have a very eminent role that we are playing. So what can we do as mentors? Number one, we can reduce the anxiety levels. Trust me, it's not because that we are contributing in ways of developing certain skills of individuals. Whether we are there in the ATL, and whether we're just there for enabling and developing of certain kinds of skills which could foster innovation in them, we also need to understand that innovation will come, or those bright ideas will nurture, or all that newness will come only once the students have an open mind. But if the mind is blocked with anxiety, or if the mind is blocked with so much stress that they are having, then it's not going to enable or help in any kind of a way. We need to ask, there are certain things that I talked about in the previous slide, wherein I asked about certain things that you need to ponder upon, that you need to really think upon, that whether I as a mentor have been doing those things. And if you have been doing those things, you have been utilizing your mentorship in the most appropriate manners to reduce the overall level of anxiety in the people, in the very students that we are coming across. Second thing is that we can really build a lot of self confidence and self esteem. When we see students achieving even a bit, we can make a lot of difference to their self esteem and their own self confidence. Just giving that little tap on their back makes them feel that, wow, today I did something wonderful, today I was like brilliant, I did something which I was not able to do for a few months or maybe for a few years. So today I've come up with this thing. I may not be fond of a particular subject, but today I created something in that particular subject which is so new to me, and I personally am so astonished about it. So just imagine how much happiness does a child get when he does even a bit of a you can say a creation. And when this creation comes, it can really affect the overall mindset. And this mindset, this confidence, this self-esteem that we're trying to instill in the students is going to go a long way. It's going to help them to shape their entire journey of life. Trust me, we just understand that the time at which we are hand holding them is the time when we are going to enable them to shape a piece of their life which is going to go along with them. If we are able to foster these kind of qualities, these kind of skills, or these kind of soft skills in them, they are going to become very, very adaptable. They're going to become very resilient to things coming across their way. And then smaller challenges would just possibly be more like a situation for them to handle. But then, yes, they would be able to deal with the larger part of life in a much broader way. We also have to support isolation, wherein we find that students are retreating back, they are not coming up. We also have to try and analyze how do we support such kind of students in the ATLs. Very essential for us to understand that yes, all students have their own qualities, all students have their own potential, and it is not that everybody has the same goals in life. That's very important for us as mentors also to recognize. Sometimes what happens is that we might enter into an ATL with a bigger or a larger goal, that this is my target, this is what I want to achieve. We set that target for the students as well. We are thinking that everybody is going to achieve that. So that kind of sets a competitive mode also into the classroom, that the ones who are supposed to be advanced learners, they would possibly jump up doing up things quite fast, and learning quite fast. But let us also think about those slow learners. So let us try and analyze what kind of goals that I'm creating in my ATL, so that in this entire process I'm supporting each and every student, whether it is an advanced learner, whether it is a slow learner. I am facilitating all of these students and creating a space for mental health, so that they do not feel isolated. I do not need to make anybody feel that no, because you're not good at this, so you please, you can move about from this place. We need to support them as much as possible, so that they at least learn. If nothing more, if they're not able to create a product in a day or in that period of time, we also need to understand at least we have been contributing towards making them learn something new on that particular day. So that's very essential for us to understand, that how do we support isolation, if there are students who feel isolated in a possible ATL. uh, the fourth thing, which is very essential, is the feeling of being heard and respecting feelings. Trust me, don't we like that our feelings and our feelings are being acknowledged, or people listen to us the way we feel? Similarly, the students do. All students want to be heard. All students want their feelings to be respected and taken care of. So very important that when we enter into an ATL, just try and understand the mood and agenda of the classroom, what's happening around. If is there somebody who wants to talk to you, is there somebody who wants to reach out to you? And they are going to reach out to you only if you have connected with them or created that kind of a strong bond with them. Normally we see that the students, they stick around to their teachers, or they identify one particular teacher who they are very comfortable with. Now, why is that one particular teacher that they are dealing with, so that they find their comfort zone with? It's only because they are being heard there. The teacher takes out time, the teacher takes patience, and tries to listen to their thoughts, tries to listen to their feelings, and respects and understands their feelings. Okay, so it's very important that in any kind of a circumstance, listen to children, listen and respect their feelings. And of course, we have to set a hope for future. We really need to understand that it's not that I'm just enabling a student to come out of a particular problem and there is where I leave him. No. What I'm supposed to do is that once I've got this person to a certain level and I've made this person understand that yes, this is this is where your potential lies, I need to also give them a direction. I need to help them out and sort their brain in terms of giving them that roadmap in terms of how you look at yourself in terms of a future. I need to also give them some ideas so that they are able to track how and what all things could I do in the possible future. So these are small initiatives that we could do, but then yes, these initiatives or mentoring initiatives could make a lot of difference to the lives of every single person that I'm coming across in my journey of mentoring. Last, what I'm going to talk about is a roadmap for the mentors. Now, this is very, very important for each one of us. Even while I'm talking to you, it's very important for me also to be a part of this particular setup, wherein I'm talking about how we need to enable our students to really come up and sort out all their issues and come out of their mental health problems if they are facing so. First thing and the foremost thing is communicate, 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 and create a space to talk. Very, very important for all of us to understand is that my being a part of an ATL is not just a consistent effort towards just those fewer skills that I'm trying to talk about, but it is shaping their lives. But it is trying to imbibe in them some sort of a value system or some sort of a life skill that can transform their lives. So I need to create that space wherein students find a lot of comfort zone with me to come and talk to me, even if they have a problem, even if they don't have the problem, but then yes, they find me to be an appropriate person who could be reached out to, so that they can be helped out in several arenas. Second is try to evaluate where the problem is. Very important for all of us to really recognize that yes, problems are there. All students face problems, whether big or small. But as a mentor, my role to find out is that if a student is finding some issues in some technical areas, of course I'm there. But if a student is finding problems in some sort of mental issues and concerns, I need to lend out that hand. I need to try and evaluate and examine where the problem is going wrong. Okay, where the things are not going okay, where I could contribute, where I could help. Once I'm able to do that, trust me, that entire environment that you're creating in that ATL is totally different. It's more like an open communication space wherein students and mentees and mentors, everybody is coming and discussing their thoughts just to come out of their inhibitions and strike the appropriate balance between how they need to reach out and achieve their goals. Third thing is generate a lot of empathy in the classroom. The generation that we are dealing with, or the kind of students that we are dealing with, now seek a lot of empathy. We must always try to put ourselves into someone else's shoes and try to examine as to what if I was in their place, what would happen if I was coming across such a situation, how would I have dealt with such a situation. So when I try to generate that empathy into my classroom, trust me, all students would be welcoming you. All students would be wanting to discuss any small or big things going on into their mind. And you would be the one who would be, that uh, mentor who's so considerate, who's a facilitator, and who's there for them, who's like a guide for them. So very important for that, that space you need to create for them. Next is empower. Like I said, that there are smaller achievements that may have, and with empowering I would also connect to giving a tap on their back. Very important for us to understand is that when you give a little authority, when you give a little yes, that you are the one who can do it, when you give that kind of an approach to a student, he really feels that yes, now's the time that I can do it. When you instill that trust, when you instill that faith in a student, they take that responsibility. And this is this is entire procedure while we are trying to shape the mental health of the students. In this procedure of instilling that trust, I am giving so much confidence to the student that he's actually not thinking about any other things but the fact that yes, my mentor trusts me, he has given me a responsibility, I need to walk this way in the best possible manner. You're possibly acting like a coach. For example, it's a team player who got hit some time back, and now you have to get that player back into the team. What do you do as a coach? You give that patting on the back and you say that yes, today you are the one who's going to prove yourself. So that's the kind of you can say power that you have to instill in your mentees so that they are able to shine in their true colors. And sometimes adding a bit of laughter to your classroom would also make a lot of sense. It's not always that in that entire period of 2 say hours that you spend in a day in an ATL or maybe more, in that entire time you are only busy. We must try and again, like I said, talk to them, communicate with them to rebuild their lost confidence and hope. That's very, very important for all of us as mentors when we enter into an ATL, to try and understand that how we could transform and shape their lives and make a lot of difference to them. And another thing, we are their strength, and we are the strength if we potentially think so. And if I am their strength, I also need to put in 100% efforts to ensure that my mentee trusts me a lot, my mentee has faith in me, my mentee believes that I could not just guide, help, but also support them. So this is very important that each time we enter into an ATL, let us go with that open mind, go with that open thought that today I'm not just going to be there for that technical aspect. I'm also going to try and look out for all of those questions that I had put up in one of the slides. If required, if you really think that there is a need for a student, to take some sort of a professional help, please go ahead. Please go and talk it out with the ATL in charges, or people, others who are associated with it, so that this professional help can really enable and help the students to come out of any problems that they are facing in their journey. So that's more about it. That's all. Any questions that you would like to ask me about the issue of supporting mental health in the ATLs? Thank you. I get a message from Abhinaya. She says that was an excellent session. Thank you, Abhinaya. And thank you for joining.
I don't think there are any questions yet. I think the session was really comprehensive. So thank you so much for joining in, and thank you to all the participants as well. We'll see you for our next session next week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.